Hello, everyone. First of all, thank you, Blockchain Live, for inviting me, and thank you all for coming. Despite the great party and drinks yesterday, I feel probably many people are still hungover, laying in bed, and I couldn't blame them for the great time yesterday. So today, I would like to talk about the future of money and maybe just a little bit about me. I'm Felix. I'm from Dash. I'm based in Bangkok, so we run the team, essentially the Dash team in Asia. And what we do is building up merchant ecosystem and driving real life adoption of crypto payments. And even though we are in 2019, 10 years after Bitcoin, we're still struggling to pay any coffee. May I ask you a question? Who of you is holding or used to hold any crypto? Hands up. And who of you ever paid something with it, like a burger or a coffee or anything? Okay, at least four hands I see. That's way more than I'm used to. So still, I mean, most of you raised their hands, but yet 5 people said, okay, we really did something with crypto, right? So for me, it's still mind blowing that 10 years after we got that stuff, and that used to be always the number one use case for cryptocurrencies, still we cannot see payments. So now I'm here not to talk about Dash. I'm here to talk about rather on a big picture about the future of money and like a whole give you a little bit of my insights on working in this space and driving real life adoption. So what do we see in payments? What do we see in crypto adoption? I mean, the trend is quite clear, right? If you look at where payment is going, you will see we're going away from cash payments more and more into digital payments. It's not that we can say like now we don't use cash anymore. And honestly, I don't believe cash is going away very fast. We will have it and we will still use cash all the way. It's going to take a long, long time. Yet, the market share or the transaction volume and transaction size of non-cash payments are rising constantly. And I mean, just for the sake of simplicity now, this is the global transaction numbers, but there's a lot of difference if you look into certain regions, and especially in Asia, you see there's a very fast adoption of non-cash payments. But these non-cash payments are not really card payments. They are rather going more and more into mobile, right? So we have QR codes, we have NFC payments. Of course, that usually happens with a mobile phone. Personally, being in Bangkok and living there, I feel they even skipped the card payment. So it's very difficult to go with a Visa card and pay around in Bangkok because most people, I mean, they accept it, but you have to have like quite some spending in order for them that it makes sense with the fees, that you have like enough transactions to being able to pay with cards, right? So what is happening instead is now we can see really a clear trend of QR code payments, and that's everywhere, right? So you can pay with your mobile phone in so many stores, and that's really rapidly growing. In terms of crypto, we have another angle, and our narrative essentially always was like, hey, we don't need banks anymore. We are like, nobody can censor us. We don't need the government. We can do peer-to-peer payment, right? But let's be honest, right? That's not the real world, and that's now not how you really will pay a cheeseburger or how you really will pay your coffee with it. Um, we have a big advantage, right? I mean, usually the payment networks or the payment systems in these world, they are fee based. They gain their money from charging fees either from customers or from merchants. So we from the crypto side of things, we can, I mean, we're creating our own money, right? That's awesome, and that makes like a totally new business model. We essentially don't need the fees anymore. We think, okay, the more people use our currency, the more the value of the currency will grow, and that's beautiful, right? What I personally wonder, and this is why I really love Dash, is for the governance system. I'm not sure how much you know about Dash, but they have a little bit of a different approach. We are around since 2014. We're the only running DAO in the world, a decentralized autonomous organization. And what we have special is a way of distributing the money created. So of course you need miners to run any blockchain. You need their the tech infrastructure, of course. Um, in our case, we also have masternodes. Masternodes are kind of they have a governing function within Dash. Masternodes are people who stake 1,000 Dash, and by staking 1,000 Dash, they will get a return, which is around 7% annually. and they have the right to do voting. And what do they vote for? They vote for the last 10%, which is the treasury. So every development in Dash is paid from this 10%, the core team and all the teams around the world, right? So everybody can essentially say, okay, I want to work for Dash, I want to do something, and I can put a proposal online, and I can show what I want to do. And then people can vote for what I do. And what that does essentially is, hey, there is funding for business development. And this is the very, like, for me, really the mind-blowing part. And this is what, for me, most other of these crypto projects are kind of lacking or missing, paying people to go out and do stuff. And exactly this is what we do with these 10%. We fund teams all around the world. And what I said before, we are the team in Asia to do that. But of course, I mean, you have to start somewhere, right? The big problem with cryptocurrency is if you don't have merchants, nobody will come, nobody can pay. If All right, so there's a chicken and egg problem. Either you don't have users or you don't have merchants, right? If you don't have merchants, nobody can pay. If you have merchants and the users don't come, the merchants will most probably lose interest and say, like, why should I even take that, right? So you have to start somewhere, you have to start small, and this is what we did. We started with baby steps in Bangkok, where we started in Bangkok or in Thailand, and I mean, this can go for every other country in the world. There was nothing there, right? Actually, we started with the shops who claimed to accept Bitcoin. We went to every single one of them just by finding out, like, nobody really does accept Bitcoin. They all looked at us like, bits what? Like, we don't even know what you're talking about. So now we have like a very nice, healthy ecosystem in Thailand. And the very important thing is, by doing that, you have to create a situation where you create on the one side happy customers and on the other side happy merchants, right? So that obviously bears the question, what is a happy customer and what is a happy merchant? If you look at the merchant side, I mean, there's what a merchant cares for. Number one and most priority is they care for their business. They want to make a good, they want to have a sustainable business. They want to have a legal business. They want to do it just in a normal way. Everybody of you would run a business, right? On the other side, there's the consumers. The consumers, what do they want? I mean, they want to have something cool, when something value for their money. They want to have a good experience when they do that. Actually, that picture I just showed you is one awesome vegan cheese and vegan sandwich store in Bangkok. So come to Bangkok, try it out, get some Dash there, and you can like have a really good time in many restaurants, right? And this is exactly the experience we want to create. We want to create like we want to have nice shops where people want to go and spend their money on the one side, and we want to have happy merchants on the other side, because they see if they work with us, they will get new customers, and they most probably get customers they won't have before, right? But if you look at what I just showed you, like maybe something pops up in your mind, like it has nothing to do with payment, what I tell you right now, or it has nothing to do with cryptocurrency, actually, right? So I mean, payment is everywhere, yet nobody wants to think about it, right? It just happens in the background. And why is that? Because payment is usually super boring. Nobody would like really think about, wow, this payment, I just had like this awesome payment experiences. This is not really how it works, right? And it even gets more difficult if you talk cryptocurrency. Like if we go to a store and have to explain about cryptocurrency, and this is what I hear so many times, we have to educate everybody, everybody has to understand it. No, I would rather say my mom's the reference, right? If she understands it, then probably we're on the right way. And this is why now, I mean, crypto is nice and we have crypto, but maybe it's not the main focus point, right? The main focus point should be, hey, we bring you more customers, we have a nice solution, we have a solution which is essentially less fees than the solutions you are used to. And this is the way you should start adopting cryptocurrencies, in my experience. Might be different in other countries, of course. Like, I mean, we have a whole big team in Venezuela, so they have the hyperinflation use case, which of course is a totally different story than any Asian country with a very low inflation rate. So what we offer right now here in Asia is essentially saying, hey, we have a nice solution, low cost, it's super simple. You just, everything is free, all the software is free to use, you don't have any investment to use it. And essentially we can even break it down in a four-step process. You download that software, we give you an additional POS system, which is for free, where you can charge in your local cryptocurrency. And then we even provide you the way to go out back to your fiat currency, because that's another very, very important lesson. Nobody wants to have a volatile cryptocurrency who runs a business. I mean, think about it, right? You have to pay your bills, you have to pay your stuff. Why would you take the risk of the money dropping down? And that's exactly what happened the last month, right? So probably the better option is give options, and give the option to say, hey, you can accept cryptocurrency, you can have these customers, and on the other side, fiat money comes out in your local currency on your bank account. And it gets even worse, because I mean, we are cryptocurrency. Yes, it's beautiful, and we're gonna make everything new and make a big revolution. Yes, okay, but there's nice other solutions, and they have a lot of money for market penetration, for market entry. I mean, you all know Alipay, LinePay, all these solutions, right? If I go now out in Bangkok, usually I see windows full of stickers with QR codes with like 20, 30 different payment solutions. And we are just like one of them. I mean, I can accept that, right? But I shouldn't act like I'm the best and I'm the only one, right? This is just unrealistic. Um, Another thing is, payment is not really always the same, right? What we talked about now, and like the story I'm telling you now, is like the common use case for saying, hey, I go out here, I want to buy a coffee, I want to buy a burger. But there's so many different scenarios in payment. It's something completely different if I have to integrate into an online store. It's something completely different if I have to integrate in like one of these parking machines, right? I mean, that's a classic German story. Or a classic story probably, when you do parking and you have these machines which only accepts coins, but you just have cash in your pocket. So you have to park illegally, go out of the car, buy a bottle of Coke in order to get coins in return, in order to pay your parking ticket. Like, we're so far away in so many ways, right? Or try to book a room. And this is even another thing, because all these booking systems in the tourism industry, they're integrated. They're integrated in OTAs, in their PMS systems, in their channel managers. So you have to figure out the way, where does payment, like, where is the payment structure in there? Where's the payment flow in there? So the more you go, you will realize payment is like a very complex thing with a million different use cases. And of course, we have to figure out all these use cases if we want to get crypto payments everywhere, right? So there's not only different industries, within these different industries, there's different stakeholders, and different stakeholders in different countries. So one example is acquirer banks, issuer banks, all these like big players who are everywhere in the payment market. Um, so what I believe is, really, if you want to get it done, you have to create a good experiences. You have to create a proper value proposition. And the only way really that makes sense is not saying, hey, we are crypto, we can do it alone, and we have an awesome peer-to-peer solution. No, but we can partner with any company who really makes sense for us to partner with, right? So I would be even willing to work with a bank, with an acquirer bank, an issuer, a debit card provider, name it. I just want to get Dash out there, and I want to get Dash everywhere in the world to be accepted. And I want people on the other side who want to spend Dash, right? So this is, I think, the way we can and we should scale, and rather partnership than competition, at least at this point. So just to round it up, let me give you two like examples and visions I would say we should be aiming for. One, like, imagine a Japanese restaurant, like this very common place you could find probably here or in Bangkok or everywhere in the world. It's not only that the user comes there and pays in Dash. I mean, this is like the first step, right? But then the restaurant should pay all his other companies he's working with Dash. The customer should be able to tip the stuff in Dash or in any other cryptocurrency. The owner should be able to pay his stuff in cryptocurrency. And this is one important point, right? Only if we start earning in cryptocurrency, we start to have that as a reference for our spending. Because I'm like super exotic, because I earn in Dash. Now my reference is in Dash, right? If I go out and have a meal and it's 0.2 Dash, maybe, yeah, that's already an expensive meal. So, but would you think like that, right? And I mean, I see many people who most probably don't come from Singapore, right? So it's like very difficult to think in Singapore dollar. You will always start to think in your own currency, and that's your reference, right? And the reference mainly comes from in what do you earn, and that's why you think like that. Another example is tourism. I already told you, like, it's so complicated within the whole process. So now, I mean, imagine if you're a hotel and you accept cryptocurrencies, it completely takes you out of all the business processes you have. Because your booking platform will not accept any cryptocurrency, right? But if somebody asks for a room, and they will block a date, right? And that just means if you now have a customer coming with cryptocurrencies and you have to send them a manual invoice out per email, you will probably have to block that room in your system manually, which is like a whole painful process, right? And nobody would be no normal business owner would be able to do it or has any incentive to do it, right? So what I imagine, of course, is like a world where you go out of the plane, you start topping up your mobile phone. In fact, I did that. We have a service called Mobile Top Up, mobiletop-up.com, where you can top up your mobile phone in 145 countries. So when I arrived in Singapore, I used my Dash to pay my SIM card here, and now I can use internet here in Singapore, right? But it goes further, right? I want to pay the taxi, I want to pay everything, I want to book the hotel. I don't want to go out of cryptocurrencies anymore. And this is exactly what we are trying to create in Thailand. We now have already very nice merchant network there, and I invite you all to come. If you're there, give me a message, and we're going to have a great dinner in Dash, and you will see how easy it is to pay with it. So thank you for your attention, and I'm here for questions, if anything. Please join our social media. These are the Thai channels, but of course we also have the Dash channels. Thank you very much.